Hey, Tommy from the Run Testers. In this video guide, we are going to be talking about different brands and the rotations that we would suggest for each of those brands. So we're going to be talking through every brand that we've tested and reviewing all of their shoes and giving our picks for what we would choose for a 3-shoe rotation. So race shoe, daily shoe, and easy shoe. This video is also the podcast. So if you're planning on listening to the podcast, don't watch this video because most of it is going to be the same. Right, let's dive in and see what we all thought when it comes to brand rotations. Right, so in this episode, we are going to be talking about our brand rotations. So I don't know anything about this. Nick's been organising this, and he's going to be taking us through all the different brands and what shoes you can get from them. So Nick, do you want to explain what this whole video podcast is about?
Yes, so basically the idea is to give a rotation for each brand. So that's an easy day shoe, a daily trainer / fast training shoe, and then a race day shoe from each brand. So picking out the best kind of 3-shoe rotation from each brand. We're not doing every single brand here. I think we're going to do 8 or 9 in full, which are the brands we've tested enough shoes to do that with. And then we've got kind of a best of the rest category because for brands like Ultra or even Mizuno, not necessarily tested enough shoes to give a full rotation. So also it will just take way too long. It's already I'm already worried about how long this is going to take, but I've basically picked the rotation of 3 for us so far based on what I think you guys like and what I like. And then we're going to discuss it and see if there's anything that I've missed and go from there, basically. And it was going to be in alphabetical order, but I was doing it off the top of my head, and I managed to get the first 3 in roughly alphabetical order, and the rest are just brands. So that'd be fine. So the first one is Adidas, put it that way. So I hope this will explain what the situation is. So we're going to need an easy day shoe, a daily fast shoe, and a race day shoe. So easy day shoe I've gone for here is the Supernova Prima, a shoe that we tested this year that we like. It's a upgrade on things like the Ultra Boost we've seen in the past due to a better foam, a bit more light, generally just a good easy day shoe. Daily shoe / fast shoe, only I've tested the Adidas Boston 12, but I think it's clearly the pick here. It's like a really good value kind of super trainer. And race day shoe, only Kieran's tested it, but the Adios Pro 4 seems to me the best option here, assuming we're not going to put the Pro Evo in because I don't think that's really a consumer shoe, right? So what do we think of that? I think Supernova Prima is probably the one we can discuss here because the rest, Kieran will have to take you through the Adios Pro 4, but Supernova Prima I think is better than the Rise for this one, do you think?
I haven't tried it.
Yeah,
thanks, Tom.
I think for easy days, it's a bit of a wider platform, a bit more comfortable, a bit more cushion. Just feels a bit more forgiving. The Rise maybe is a little bit firmer, stiffer, a bit harsher maybe. So overall, the comfort from the Prima comes through over the Rise. I didn't mind running in the Ultra Boost 5. I didn't have the 5X. I think the Ultra Boost 5 it's not an amazing shoe, but I think for easy it would do a job, but the Prima probably wins out.
Yeah, I quite like the 5 as well. I think the 5X just hasn't got a cage, hasn't it? A midfoot cage, so probably pretty similar. And then obviously the Rise could have been the daily trainer, but we've gone for the Boston as it's got the rods in there. It's a bit light, a bit more sparky. There's other options like the Adios, which is I think a bit too lightweight for most people to use as a daily trainer. Same for the Takumi, which then leaves the Adios Pro 4 as a pretty clear standout.
Well, you've also got the SL2.
Oh yeah, Tom, you're SL2 man. Yeah, of course.
The SL2. So in some of the comments that when we did that video, some people were saying that they much preferred it as their daily trainer to the Boston 12.
So there we go.
Yeah,
so that's a very good value shoe, right?
It's very good value. I think it's £110 normally, but I bought it a month and a half ago, and it was like £80, and that was 2 months after release. So it's probably going to get cheaper now. So that is a really good shoe. It's probably not as cushioned as the Boston 12, so that's probably where your decision comes when you're picking that as a daily shoe.
Both good options actually that turn up in sales a lot, so I think if you could go sneak to 4 shoes. But let's move on from Adidas because I would say that's the one we have the least discussion about because there's a lot of shoes there that only one of us has tested. And on to Asics, where we've all tested like all the shoes, and then we can have a good discussion about the Easy Day shoe. I've stuck in the Kayano 31 because I actually really like it. I prefer it to the Nimbus. I think I enjoy the extra support you get from it. I've picked the Super Blast 2 as the fast trainer. We have not tested the Magic Speed 4. That is a problem here, but I think Super Blast 2 is probably the best all-rounder daily trainer. And then we've gone for the Metaspeed Sky Paris. I think that's a pretty clear choice. Kieran and I have got a marathon PBs in that shoe. Tom likes it as well. But yeah, what do you think to this rotation, guys?
Yeah, the only I think definitely Super Blast 2, definitely Sky Paris. I'm probably going to use that for Valencia. But yeah, the Cushioned one's the only one that you probably have got a bit of debate on. I would actually go for the Gel Kayano 31 as well, just because I don't think there's much in it. And I do like that slight bit of extra stability when you need it. But yeah, I agree with you, Nick. I think you've gone for the right ones.
Nova Blast is definitely a good shoe, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's. I guess that's the one thing and whenever we talk about easy day shoes, it's something I sort of caveat where I don't mind running in a shoe that's perhaps deemed a little bit stiffer or a bit firmer or whatever. There's not quite so much of that kind of pillowy cushion. And I think the Nova Blast, for me, can cover those easy day runs and some of the slightly more up-tempo runs. There's a bit of versatility there in it. I've not run in the Super Blast 2 yet. Still waiting. I don't know about that one. But Sky Paris, I think absolutely that one's right up there with, best shoes of the year. And so, yeah, I don't mind the Kayano 31. I think just for me, my preference would go for something a bit kind of maybe lighter than the Nova Blast or, I think the Nimbus 26 if you want a bit of cushion.
I think Nova Blast could sub in for the Super Blast or the Kayano, really. It's a really good shoe, definitely. I probably would use it like that for easy runs as well, but it's a great shoe. And then we have tried the Edge Paris. I think it's very similar to the Sky Paris. It just feels a bit different. I prefer the feel of the Sky. You might prefer the feel of the Edge, in which case, if you can test them, go for it. But both amazing shoes. Just the Sky Paris is the one that's felt the best to me. Now, still on alphabetical, it's Brooks's turn. Now, they've released a lot of shoes this year. I think we've got two very strong shoes in this rotation and a pretty dodgy racer. The Hyperion Elite 4 is the race we've gone for here. I think Brooks knows that it's not quite at the level of other racing shoes out there, but we're going to maybe see some updates to it quite soon. But loads of easy day shoes here. So I've got the Glycerin Max in there for now. I think that I picked that because I think some of you guys really like it. I probably would go for the Ghost Max 2 myself there, but Glycerin Max in there. And the Hyperion Max 2, I think, is a pretty clear winner as the all-rounder daily trainer fast shoe. How about you guys?
I really love the Max 2. And again, if you're thinking about the way we talk about the Nova Blast, I actually ran long way in the Max 2 out of Berlin. So did 30 miles in it at a very, very easy pace again. So that's, me back in that ballpark where I can use those for slower and easier. But I don't know. I just love the fit of it. It just feels great on the foot, that shoe. Ghost Max 2, again, quite like that. But I think the Glycerin Max has come in, and I don't normally pick shoes that have got that kind of big whacking great stack. But yeah, I've been really enjoying the miles in the Glycerin Max, and I think that has sort of dragged me away from the slightly firmer, more rocket ride of the Ghost Max. If I'm going to go for something that I really get more kind of plush cushion comfort out of.
Yeah. How about you, Tom?
Did you get through all of the options there, Kieran?
And I didn't talk about the race shoe because I feel like there's not a lot to say about it. It's not it's not my favourite, but yeah, we've got the one in there that I would choose out of their offering. I
haven't even tried the race shoe, the Elite, but I would probably say Glycerin Max for me. In fact, Glycerin Max was up until the point of me getting the More V5. I was really, really warming to it as a big competitor for the More V4, which I took out the other day just to see if I was actually correct in my previous obsession with that shoe. And I think the Glycerin Max is just a really solid all-round shoe. It's a bit softer than the Ghost Max 2. It's just more comfortable. I think it's a more fun shoe to run in. And for me, my easy runs are easy. So I want something that is just as comfortable as possible. And I don't get that as much from the Ghost Max 2. So I would go for the Glycerin Max on that. For the daily one, it's a tough one, really. I actually quite like the Hyperion Max 2. It's 2, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that. I took that out yesterday for a interval session, and I do think it's a solid shoe. So I'd probably have Hyperion Max 2 for the daily option, and then no idea about the race one.
I think the other thing about the Glycerin Max and the Hyperion Max, I think they're hands down the two best looking Brooks shoes.
They do say Brooks in big letters on one side, though.
Yeah, well, not to forget who they're. And actually, I saw that I put the Glycerin 21 in here somewhere as just a bit of a utility. It was mainly because someone commented on the channel actually that it often gets overlooked as something that again has a bit of versatility for the sort of lower up to the up to that kind of not your fastest pace, but
I'd say they're both, the Glycerin and the Ghost are really good shoes, the standard versions. I think we tend to prefer the slightly lower drop Rocket shoes that Brooks are now doing. I think overall, I think the Glycerin Max for me, the way the Rocker is, it's so late in the shoe that the drop is like all in the last centimetre, and I find it can feel a bit blocky as a result of that. And the other shoe you haven't mentioned is the standard kind of Hyperion, which is their very lightweight, no plate, pretty, simple daily trainer. That's another good lightweight shoe, but the Hyperion Max 2 I think is a big step up on both that and the Hyperion Max 1. I think it's a really good shoe for long training runs in particular. Right, next up, we've gone on to Hoka, who I think have had a stormer of a year and released loads of shoes that I think have gone into near my actual rotation, but for their rotation. So the cushion shoe is a bit tricky because I think I'm the only one who's tested the Skyflow so far, which I think is basically an upgraded Clifton. None of us are big fans of the Bondi, I believe. And then the daily, fast shoe, the kind of super trainery thing, the Mac X2, is maybe my standout shoe of the whole year. Max 6 also very good. And then race shoe got the Rocket X2 and the Cielo X1. I think they're two shoes that do quite different things well. The Rocket X2 is the kind of lightweight, very nimble, very fast shoe, and the Cielo X1 is really bouncy, really fun. I kind of prefer that as a shoe, so I've gone for that over the Rocket, but certainly a lot we could talk about with this rotation.
Go on, Kieran. I've barely tested any of these, so Kieran, you give that.
So again, I've not been in the Skyflow, but I guess... And this is one I get called out for. I see people pin this as, but I guess the other one is the Skyward X, which people say it's like a fast training shoe, but Hoka will almost say it's like a slow training shoe. Yeah. I wouldn't wear it for fast. I don't think it's very good for slow. So, I think it's a bit too wild. There's not enough stability in it for me. I find it hard to control for wanting to do in those easy days. But Mac X2, I totally agree with. I think that's a cracking shoe. Would happily do all my fast training and up to kind of half marathon racing even in it.
I think it's a really good racing alternative. I have raced in it and done fast times. So I've not run in the Cielo X1. I do like the Rocket X2 though, and I think the way you described it kind of speaks more to the way that the shoes that I look for in running shoes. So something a little bit more nimble and a bit more precise. But I haven't had the experience with the Cielo X1. But and then the Max 6 is such a good shoe, and I think we've talked about this a lot. We tend to not necessarily go for bigger shoes. I would be very happy using the Max 6 as my easy run shoe in a rotation. Like right now, actually, I'm picking between the Max 6 and the Skyflow a lot for easy runs, and I use the Max 6 a lot recently, and I think it's very comfortable. But the Skyflow is probably the one that I think will be seen as more of an easy day shoe by people at large in general, and I think it probably is better for that purpose. But that is a great all-rounder shoe. And that would sub in for the Mac X2 if you don't want a plated shoe, I guess is how I put it.
Yeah. It's funny, they've all the brands have got these shoes that actually, if they're almost in that kind of bottom chunk of your training from easy up to a certain pace, there's a shoe that could, if you only want to buy one, could do that job. And the Max 6 feels like that to me, If you don't,
I wouldn't use it for easy days.
Okay. But Skyflow's it's quite similar, just a bit more cushion, basically. So it probably fits the bill a bit more. Clifton's probably slightly squishier, but feels a bit lower to me a little bit. Yeah, but the Clifton's another really good shoe. Again, there's a lot going on. I think the racing end of things, the Cielo X1's a bit heavy. The Rocket X2 maybe is a bit too kind of direct and firm for marathons for some people. But a couple of really good shoes. And then Nike, I've got next. We're completely out of the realms of alphabetical now because Nike are next. So Nike, we've got another brand that we don't necessarily get to test everything with, and certainly not all of us get to test it. But I think Easy Day shoe is one from last year that I think Kieran and I both really liked, which is the Vomero 17, which I still think is a bit better than the Pegasus 41, but that is also a very good shoe. And then the daily/fast shoe, I think the Pegasus Plus is a step up on the Pegasus for that. They've just launching the Nike Zoomfly 6, which should be a plated trainer that will hopefully be a good shoe. Like the Zoomfly has been a bit of a stinker, I think, in recent years, it's fair to say. And I think with the new version, they're hopefully going to have a bit more actual real ZoomX foam and stuff like that in it. So we'll see how that is. But for the moment, Pegasus Plus is in there. Then you've got Vaporfly or Alphafly for race day. I pick the Alphafly. I prefer the Alphafly over the Vaporfly probably for marathons in particular. But I think that's what the area where Nike is strongest, it's fair to say, is the racing shoes where they really excel. What do you think to this rotation, guys? Another one I think we haven't really all done many.
This is another one that I can't really. The only one I can comment on is the race shoe, which I think is a tricky one. I mean, I've always been, I'm a massive fan of the Alphafly 1, still bang on about that shoe all the time. Alphafly 3, not as big a fan of, but I actually think I prefer it to the Vaporfly 3. So I definitely think that the Alphafly is the strongest one. For most people now, I think if you look back at the old days of Vaporflies and Alphafly 1, maybe 2, you were getting two quite different experiences in those shoes. I think now they're quite comparable, and the same sort of people are going to be looking at those two shoes for the same thing. I just think Alphafly's just got a little bit more bounce and propulsion in it than the Vaporfly for me.
And you destroyed the Vaporfly in 7K, was it?
Yeah, I haven't got a good relationship with the Vaporfly 3. Yeah, it's just completely ruined it. But I still prefer the Alphafly.
Kieran, you've tested a few. What are your thoughts for Vomero versus Pegasus?
I like the Vomero when we first used it. Now when I put them sort of side by side, I actually had a really good time in the Pegasus 41. It sort of...
what were you doing it, Kieran?
I mainly ran around like midday heat in Italy in it, maybe it was part. We had like an Italian romance, but I don't know. There's something in my head I think the Vomero just feels like a little more shoe on the foot, if that makes sense. It's a bit more kind of heft to it, and I don't know. There's a lightness, a bit of an airiness to the peg. There's a roominess in the toe box and more flexible uppers and all those kind of things I really like. I just found it, again, just a really easy shoe to put on and go and run. When you're on holiday like that, just sort of casual miles where I didn't really know what I was going to do. Some days I did some faster stuff. Some days I went out and basically melted in 30 degrees and had to go really slow, and it was really struggly. And I just felt the Peg 41 looked after me a bit more for that. So I'm very happy to run in that as my easy day shoe. And again, I also think this kind of ticks that box where I can do a little bit faster. It's not a particularly punchy shoe. It's quite sort of vanilla, but it's quite sort of utility shoe.
Yeah. And the interesting thing about Nike is I think they're probably the shoe. I was thinking about this today at work, actually. Like, their shoes are all quite similar. They're still quite sticking to quite traditional drops and geometry. They haven't got that kind of rockers design. They haven't really had a big plated shoe, as a training shoe for a while. So there's a lot of similarities, like the Vomero, the Pegasus Plus, the Pegasus. They all have quite similar drops, quite similar silhouettes. So there's not that much. And the Invincible's one we haven't talked about, just because Invincible 3 we're not particularly big fans of. I'd say 1 and 2 I think would have been straight in as the easy day shoe, but I didn't like the 3 very much myself. So that's going to get comments for sure, because there's a lot of people love that shoe, right? But I prefer the Vomero and the Pegasus. So
yeah,
it's our podcast. So
I can't run in the Invincibles. I don't quite understand.
2 was a good shoe. Did like the Invincible 2. Right, next brand it's all going to be Tom, so we can sit back here. It's New Balance time. So Easy Day shoe is a tough one here, because obviously Tom's just got the More V5. That's a potential here. The Balos is a shoe that is great fun, but really expensive, but very fun for easy runs and pretty versatile. 1080 I've not tested. Tom has, so we can talk about that. Daily/fast, I put in the SC Trainer V3 here. Kieran and I just finished up testing that. I think that's a particularly good all-rounder shoe for marathon training. Does pretty much every kind of marathon training mile. It's not necessarily got a lot of express top-end pace, but a great shoe for grinding out loads of miles. As a plated shoe, that is. And then for the race day, we've got the Pacer 2 and the SC Elite V4. I think the SC Elite V4 is probably the most... it's a shoe that most people get on with. The Pacer V2 is a bit lower stack, a bit firmer. I probably slightly prefer it to the Elite myself, but I think the SC Elite V4 is probably the one to put in. Tom's got about 7 pairs, so he can talk about that as well. Go on then, Tom. Hit us with your New Balance. What do you want to get? What's the Easy Day shoe here then, Tom? Because this is tricky.
Easy Day shoe is a tricky one, because there's a few that crop up in the New Balance realms. I would say it's going to be between the... I wouldn't put the Balos in for Easy Day. I put that as a daily shoe for me, because I use that for a lot of my interval sessions and stuff. That's sort of my equivalent to the Saucony Endorphin Speed range or something like that, but without a plate. So for the Easy Day, I would go for definitely the More V5 if you like cushioning. That shoe is really, really comfortable. It's probably my favourite Easy Day shoe after one run. We'll see how it goes after the More, but so I'd put that down for Easy Day. But I think that something like the 1080 V14 is probably more accessible for some people. There's a lot of cushioning in the More V5. I think the 1080 V14 might actually be better for some people. Like you, Kieran, you might prefer the 1080 V14 because it's a bit firmer. Still got loads of cushioning in it, but it's just a little bit more accessible, a little bit more stable. So I'd go for one of those for the Easy Day shoe. For the daily shoe, I would go for Balos or the Rebel.
Yeah, Rebel is a brilliant shoe as well. They've got a lot of very good daily trainers, I say right now. New Balance.
For me, it would be the Balos, just because there's a bit more bounce to it in that foam. But I'd be equally happy with either. And I think some people wouldn't like the amount of foam in the Balos for daily runs if you're going to do intervals and stuff. Rebel's probably the top option for a lot of people, and it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
And then that's the Elite V4 for top slot for me. I mean, it's not my favourite carbon plate shoe, but it's definitely the best one they've got, which I would use for a race.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably the weakness in the rotation. It's also their race shoes have a tendency to cut people's heels up, Kieran, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, that's always been a bit of a disappointment for me because I didn't. It wasn't the best carbon ratio I run in, but I didn't mind it otherwise. But again, it's say come home and you've got holes in the heels. I've never really been able to put it back on. I think I should have sized up or half sized up. Okay. I think that's a really interesting one actually with the SC Trainer V3 or some of New Balance's shoes actually around the sizing.
They're terrible.
They're having it's some problems about finding what fits right. I think the SC Trainer V3 is great though. I'll definitely put that in that slot. I probably, if I was going easy day as well, I haven't tested the New Balance 1080 V14 just yet. But definitely would have picked the 13. So if the 14 is more of the same with a little bit more cushion, I don't know. Is it? Yeah. Did you say it's more cushion?
Firmer, slightly firmer, which is why I think you'll like it.
Yeah. Well, that would probably kind of definitely sort of feed into how I like the shoes as well. So that's I would kind of agree with those. Don't know about it's a difficult one for the race shoe because again, it's one of those where everything else I think sort of felt good apart from the fact that it makes holes in you.
Yeah, interesting brand. I think their race shoes are not quite as good as the other brands, but definitely the Daily Trainer. They've got 3 great shoes that have come out this year. Pricing's a bit wild on some of them, particularly the SC Trainer, but good actual performance for sure. Right. Next up, we have Puma, who have had a lot of shoes come out this year. I think it's been up and down. I think there's a couple of crackers here, and there's a couple I'm not so keen on. So, Easy Day shoe, I think we could probably debate this because I've got the Velocity Nitro 3 in there at the moment, but I think there are some more cushion shoes. The Magnify Nitro 2, the Mag Max. I don't really like the Mag Max, so I didn't put it in, but Tom might argue for that. Then the Daily shoe, I've stuck in the Deviate Nitro 3 so far. Another shoe I wasn't a big fan of, plated Daily Trainer. I think you could actually put in the Velocity Nitro 3 there if you think it's not cushioned enough for an Easy Day shoe. I think for the race day, we're all going to agree probably on the Deviate Nitro Elite 3. The Fast R2 I've tested is good, but I think the Deviate Nitro 3 is better. It's cheaper, it's lighter. Just I think a better race day shoe. Tom just ran a very good half in that, so we can talk about that. But I guess the Easy Day shoe might be a matter of debate here if you've got fans of the Mag Max or the Magnify.
Yeah, it is a tough one. Magnify, I really like the Magnify. I think it's solid, very stable, very comfortable cushion shoe. I think the Mag Max has a little bit more to it. It's obviously got a bit more foam, a bit more bounce in it. It feels a bit softer. It's not. I'm not. I think Mike's a bigger fan of the Mag Max than me.
Okay,
he talked about it being a very really versatile shoe. I don't think it is. I think it's fine as an Easy Day shoe. I think it's solid. It's a little bit too firm for me. I like a little bit softer shoe.
Wow. Such a soft shoe, Tom. Come on.
Yeah, but it's a very sturdy, all round, well balanced, chunky shoe. Definitely nice and accessible. In fact, all of the Puma shoes are accessible for Easy Days for most people.
Yeah.
I would probably, for me, I'd put the Mag Max in because I think it's probably the nicest ride for me out of all those 3. The daily shoe, I'll go for Puma Velocity Nitro 3, which is a good one because it's so cheap in comparison to other shoes. So that's a nice one to have in there, and I do still use that shoe quite often. And I don't need to. I've tested it already. Puma Velocity Nitro 3 Elite.
Deviate Nitro Elite.
Deviate Nitro Elite 3. When I started testing that shoe out, I wasn't very fit. And I think I used it for 1 or 2 10Ks. And I immediately liked it. It wasn't until I did the half marathon in it at the weekend that I really, really understood how good that shoe is. Maintaining my marathon pace, which is 4-minute kilometers, was just so nice and easy. It felt very bouncy from the off. It just feels like the Vaporfly 2 for me, which is exactly what they should be going for. That sort of feel, which you didn't get from the earlier versions of that shoe. So definitely, it's by far the most superior carbon plate shoe that they've released so far. I haven't tried the Fast R2, but apart from that, it's fantastic carbon plate shoe.
Ripped the outsole off that one as well, haven't you?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay, good.
I haven't. Yeah.
Kieran, I'm not sure what you've tested on the Puma range this year.
I don't like any Puma shoes. No, I literally haven't put my foot in a Puma shoe for a while. They've forgotten my address.
Kieran is some of those, but I know you'd like the Velocity, so we'll just say that's the best one. It's always good to see.
Well, I agree with you guys.
Right, Saucony next, brand with a lot of very, very good shoes. So I think there's some debate to have with the Easy Day shoe. I think we can choose here between, I think, the really, really cushioned Hurricane 24, which is the big, very cushy shoe. I really love it, actually, and I don't really tend to go for such cushioned shoes, but I really like that. Or you could go for something a bit more kind of a versatile cushion trainer, like the Ride 17, another very good shoe. But I think none of us are huge fans of the Triumph 22, so that's not in the contention here. Daily Fast seems an absolute no-brainer here with the Endorphin Speed 4. Just seems to have that locked down, as one of the best options from any brand. And then for race day, so the Endorphin Pro 4 has obviously come out this year, a shoe we like a lot. The Elite V2, the Endorphin Elite, we haven't tested yet, but it is out there now. They are still launching new colours of the Endorphin Elite V1, which is the other option you could look at here, which is more expensive, I think faster than the Pro 4, but maybe a little bit less accessible. So I think it's a bit of a toss-up there, but I'll let you guys decide over that. And I think Kieran's going to tell us why the Ride 17 should be hitting instead of Hurricane.
Well done, Kieran.
Yeah, I mean, I've not run in the Hurricane, actually, but for the same reasons I quite like the Pegasus 41 and a few of these other shoes. I just think it's another shoe that if you don't want something that's really big and over cushioned, it just feels a bit more. They're not minimal, but in the world we're in now, they're kind of a bit more direct and a bit more natural. I think there's relies on a kind of nice rocket ride. It's got a really easy fit. It's just another one of those shoes that I find very, very sort of instantly disappear. It's very easy to put it on and just go and run almost anything in it and forget that you're wearing it. It delivers for me just enough cushion without sort of feeling like it's a too big a shoe on the foot or too heavy or too clunky. And it soaks up enough of the road, and I can run slow. I can run up to kind of mid pace in it, and I think it's pretty well priced as well. Love the way the uppers feel. All of those things. It ticks those boxes for me.
It could, and if you don't want to use plate shoes, that could slip in as a daily as well. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
Tom, do you have a preference on Easy Day shoe here? Triumph 21, I guess.
Well, if we're going for the most recent ones, actually the Hurricane. Yeah, Hurricane. I really like the Hurricane. Great shoe.
And what about the Racer? What would you guys pick out of the Pro 4 and the Elite V1? I guess we haven't tested the two.
It's a tricky one. I don't really like the Pro 4. I've raced in it like twice now, and I only did that for testing purposes. I've never wanted to pick it up again for any sort of race. I just don't think it has, and that's coming from somebody who was obsessed with the Pro 3. I've got all my PBs in the Pro 3, and I still take the Pro 3 out sometimes if I'm doing like a faster session, and I'd much rather wear that than the Pro 4. I would say that for most people, I think the Pro 4 is the best option of the current generation of shoes that they've got, because the Elite is really a weird shoe to run in. I think if you were a beginner or if you're not used to carbon plate shoes and you put on the Elite, that's going to be a very dangerous shoe to wear. But I would say that for me, I would definitely pick the Elite as my race shoe, just because even though I find it a bit uncomfortable, I'd still much rather wear it than the Pro 4, which I don't really enjoy wearing at all.
Yeah, I don't feel like there's enough difference between the Pro 4 and the Speed 4. It's just there's not enough of a difference. If I was going to race even that, I'd probably go Speed 4 in it for me, but the Elite I have run long miles in that and raced in it as well, and I think it just feels more like it's a more energetic shoe. I think it's a bit more harsh, and I think Tom's right. There's some people might not get on with that over longer distances. I think if you're a newcomer to the marathon, I can see the Pro 4 being less of a risk. But I don't now actually even sort of I think about the Pro 4 up against shoes like the New Balance SC Trainer V3, I'm like, actually, the SC Trainer V3 for me, if you're a first timer going in to run a marathon, you're looking at 4 hours plus.
I would say I rate the Pro 4 a bit more higher than you two. I think it is a pretty fast shoe. I've done some very hard marathon sessions in that shoe, and I was pretty impressed actually by the pickup off the forefoot. I think the Elite is a faster shoe though, but definitely harsher. I'd agree with you on that. So it's the Elite V2 is meant to be really soft, almost dangerously soft.
Now we're talking my language.
Some of the squishy, the squish videos on that look pretty wild. So that might end up being inaccessible in a different way. But yeah, I think. But the rest of Saucony's rotation, daily, easy, some of the best shoes on the market, easy. Race shoes.
Yeah.
I think the other brands maybe a little bit ahead of them, but Pretty good though. All right, let's go on to On. Now, I haven't actually put in a complete rotation for this as yet, because I think they've got a bit of a hole in the kind of fast daily trainer era of their rotation. I think the new Cloudboom Zone, which has been leaked, and well, not leaked, but seems to be popping up on the website now, looks very interesting, as it has the foam from the Cloudboom Strike and no holes, so probably quite a good shoe. None of the pods, but anyway, at the top end you've got the kind of comfortable shoes here. A lot of good shoes here. I think the Cloud Eclipse is pretty good. I like that shoe a lot. We've got Cloud Monsters and Cloud Monster Hypers, so we could put the Cloud Monster Hyper in as a daily. I'll leave you decide on that. Kieran, you like the Cloud Monster Hyper a lot, so you can decide where we put that in the rotation. I think the race day shoe is clearly the Cloudboom Strike, although none of us have tested the standard version. I've tested the LS version, which is an amazing shoe. I think it's one of my favorite carbon shoes, so I think that's a big step up on the Cloudboom Echo 3 for me. But yeah, where are we putting the Hyper, Kieran? Which category do you put that in?
Well, the Hyper's another weird one. It's like it's a sort of Skyward X situation where it's like, I think it was sort of described as being like a punchy super trainer, and to me, it's not. That's not what it does best. I used it during an ultra. Used it for sort of really long cushion runs. 6, 7, 8 hours on feet, and it was brilliant. Nice roomy toe box, good cushion without feeling sort of sloppy and sapping. And I would definitely put it into the easy. But then you look at the price and you're like, okay, well, do I want to pay that much for my easy shoe? And then up against some of the competition, you think, well, there are probably better options out there, better easy shoes that are going to cost me, 2/3 of that price. So I think it is a really good easy day shoe. There's probably, some people may be able to run faster in it, but it's probably not at the price point that you want to pay for an easy day shoe. I Cloud Monster 2, I really like as a shoe. Cloud Eclipse, I think there's too much to choose between these two. Both of those, I think, make good easy day shoes as well.
But we should put in two easies. We'll put in the Cloud Eclipse and the Cloud Monster Hyper, and then the Racer. What do you think, Tom?
You've just made me realise how far behind I am on shoes. I haven't tried loads of these ones. Did you? Cloud, yeah, I mean, the main one I tested is the Hyper, and I would put it in easy day.
Got the Cloud Surfer, actually, which is the Cloud Surfer Next we haven't tested. The Cloud Surfer is a lot lighter than a lot of the other shoes, so it does have a bit of a pickup speed, but it still, to me, feels best cruising around as a daily trainer. But
yeah, if that was classing that as a shoe that we could have based on this generation, then I would probably more likely use that as an easy day shoe than the Cloud Hyper. I'd definitely more like to buy it than the Cloud Hyper. So but I haven't tried any of the more recent race shoes. So
I think we're crying out for a fast trainer, basically, from On. I think the Cloudboom Zone might be it. We'll see. I think their carbon shoes, we can get a chance to test the normal Cloudboom Strike soon, I think, as well. I think they have vaulted themselves right up into the kind of contention with that. So that's good to see. And Cloudboom Zone, whatever the Cloud Zone is called, again, looks like a good shoe. So we'll see on that. And then we've on to the best of the rest category. So there's a few brands here that I don't think we've tested enough to have full rotations necessarily. So we've got Mizuno, Altra, Under Armour, Kipron, Salomon. So I think there's some really good shoes from these brands, and I think we can talk about a lot of different things here, but I don't necessarily think I could name a good rotation for each of them. So a couple of, I think, stalwart picks from these groups. I think the Mizuno Neo Vista is an amazing daily shoe, or even easy shoe. I think that's right up there as one of my favourite new shoes of the year. So that's, I think, going in this best of the rest rotation.
Correct.
I've got the Salomon S-Lab Phantasm 2 as the racer here. I think that's a really good racer. It's a bit overpriced. I think it does have a bit of a Vaporfly 2 feel to it. It's slightly lower. Well, it's not lower stack, but it feels a bit more direct than some of the shoes. Really good shoe, that. Easy day shoe. I've not got anything in here. I mean, the Under Armour Infinite Elite's not bad. Kipron have got quite a good KD 900, but I haven't picked an easy day shoe here yet. So I thought I'd leave that to you guys and also to choose, obviously, the other categories if you disagree with my picks.
What we choosing here?
Choose all of them, mate.
You went so quickly through all that.
Yeah. Well, I haven't picked an easy day shoe, so you've got to pick one from those brands, and then you can debate my other picks.
I've not tested a Mizuno easy day shoe for a long time, so the only one I have frame of reference of is the Neo Vista, which I would use for easy days. I would use it for most of my runs. It's a fantastic all-round shoe. What are the other ones you had there?
Ultra Forward Experience. That's quite a good shoe.
Yeah,
I tried that.
Not bad. Kipron, he's actually Salomon. Oh, the Aero Glide from Salomon, not a bad shoe.
Yeah.
Look at my cupboard, see if there's anything else on there.
Under Armour Elite, Infinite Elite.
Yeah, there's another shoe called there's one that's called Hilo Impact, which is a more sustainable shoe, which I think is a pretty good, nice, soft, easy day shoe. Got a slipper-like feel, nice amount of cushioning, can go up the gears a bit as well. That's potentially interesting if you're, but it's more, I would put it a bit more into the sort of casual use shoe.
What about the Condor? I've only used that once. That's that's a fairly okay easy day shoe.
Actually,
I think
the Condor 2's, that's one of the, in terms of a bigger cushioned, softer, eco-friendly shoe, actually, that one does drop in as it was the first time you put one on and thought, actually, the Hilo and the Condor are both shoes that before you'd put on sort of eco-friendly shoes and they felt like bricks. They're very firm, very hard, even for me. And those two buck that trend for sure.
That's the Veja. That's Veja? Did you say Veja? Is that right?
I think it's Veja.
Veja. Okay.
It can't be Veja. Nobody can be walking around saying that.
I think it is. I think it's. Yeah.
It's the veggie shoes. And then races from other brands. What do you think to this? You haven't tested the Salomon, I know, but you have tested some others.
Mizuno, I love the Rebellion Pro 2.
Yeah, but it's a very good shoe, but it's a shoe that I think even you, as someone who loves it, say you don't necessarily want to race in it.
I wouldn't risk it. I'd use it. I mean, it's just a bit of a risky shoe. I've used it for half marathon. I liked it. It was fun. I felt fast in it, but I don't think I'd use it for a marathon. It's a bit too awkward as a shoe for that. So I don't. Yeah, maybe they haven't got a. Well, have they got another carbon plate shoe?
They've got the Flash, which is a training shoe, but I mean, it's a good shoe. It's one that appears in sales quite a lot as well. It's just it's a pretty wild ride, and it's a harder one to recommend because it is so wild.
Yeah.
So let's go. So Veja Condor 3, Mizuno Neo Vista, and then the Salomon, I guess, racer. It's quite a nice little rotation. We could have done a sustainable rotation, although not a lot of sustainable carbon shoes, I guess.
No, it's one gap. That is one definite gap.
But
chuck in the single-use Pro Evo 1.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, let's go for that. That's our sustainable racing shoe because you can't buy it. So actually, it's never put into production. That is all I've got, boys. That's long enough, I think.
I think that'll do us. That'll do us. Yeah. Good work.
It's good. It didn't just generate into like the carnage of the picking the best shoe categories. I thought it might end up there. Where
well, it's good that Mike was busy tonight because this would have got on another 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, another person's opinions. We'd have had. They would have been hitting the hour mark. But it's a fun discussion. Please dive in below. And then the last thing I was going to finish with: if you had to stick with one brand, what brand would you pick?
Oh, if you had to pick one of the rotations only.
Yes.
Oof.
Oh, you want to stand for that now?
I want it right now.
It's a tricky one because it's like I'd go for New Balance apart from the race shoe, so I can't have New Balance. It's probably going to be.
Oh Christ! Yeah.
I think it's going to.
There's some real frantic faces.
And I haven't tried enough of Hokas to know it. It's probably going to have to be Saucony for me.
Not Asics.
Oh, I'm going Asics. It's a big shout. I'm going Asics. What
was the easy day shoe we had for Asics?
Use the ones I picked.
Yeah, you're right. Asics. All the way.
This is a tricky one for me because for all training shoes, I would pick the Hoka shoes, like as my first choice, even if it wasn't, this thing.
Yeah. But
the racing shoe, I obviously pick the Asics, and that's the thing probably I care about the most, isn't it?
Ultimately, if you do race, if you're a runner that doesn't race, then it's probably.
I need to get the Rocket out again, just in case it's underrated. But because most of your miles are easy miles, but at the end of the day.
I wouldn't be able to pick Saucony and then do Valencia Marathon in the SC Elite V4, knowing that I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah, so, I think Asics probably just about leads the way, just because we're all quite led by the race shoe here, which is maybe not the best.
I just want the Super Blast.
Super Blast obviously is amazing. It's Asics or Hoka. I don't know, the Mach X2 is so convincing just because it's so fun to do so many miles in, but the Metaspeed Sky Paris is.
It's funny because they've all got gaps, haven't they? When you look at them, there's not one that you just go, "Oh, actually, that's got everything's nailed there," or "That's the best of everything." It's
Saucony were nailed, I think, for Tom a year ago in everything, pretty much.
Yes.
And then obviously Nike have always had, I think, slightly dodgy training shoes, but great racing shoes. I don't know. I think race shoes are more of a pass. Yeah, I think I'll probably join you on Asics just because. Yeah, Super Blast Metaspeed Sky Paris is an unbelievable 1-2 punch, and then there are loads of quite comfy shoes and the Nova Blast as well. So it's pretty nice.
That's it from us on this guide to brand rotations. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click the little bell. And if you go into the caption below, you can find a link to our podcast, which comes out at the end of each month. Thanks a lot for watching. Catch you next time.